but I'm a print reporter. If the union can't get me out of doing these, Richard Rellis here with columnist Bob Robb. The PRO Act has already passed the House. It's on its way to the Senate. Two provisions of it contradict Arizona's constitution, and you say this puts Senators Sinema and Kelly in a bind.
The whole bill puts them in a bind. Sinema has actually had a fairly pro-business track record. She's gotten serial awards from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and this is just one more highly partisan liberal idea that is desired to be jammed through the Senate on a straight party line vote, which is directly contradictory to the way that Sinema and Mark Kelly said that they would govern. This one, I think, is particularly acute because there are two provisions of the Arizona Constitution, one protecting the right to choose not to join a union, and the other ensuring a secret ballot for union representation elections.
And that second one was passed by the voters, right?
They were both passed by the voters. They're constitutional amendments. They were both enacted by the voters. And the PRO Act, whatever its merits or demerits, depending upon how you view the role of unions in the United States and whether they should be strengthened or the balance of power between business and labor should be left unchanged. It's a big deal for two Arizona senators to vote to nullify two provisions of the Arizona Constitution that have been approved by voters. So the pinch that they're in naturally, contrasting the desire to enact a whole raft of progressive legislation in a straight party line vote compared to the pledges and the platform on which Kelly and Sinema ran is just really intensified when you raise the stake by saying, by doing that, we're going to knock out a couple of provisions of the Arizona Constitution.
And I guess looking at, again, the other debates or the other parts of that you say have squeezed them in this vice, do you think progressives in Arizona would buy the argument if Sinema or Kelly were to say, I support this legislation, but I didn't want to nullify what the voters did in Arizona's constitution? Would that appease progressives?
I don't think that there's any give in what progressives are willing to accept. I compare them to the Republicans in the Arizona legislature. Both groups are trying to jam through legislation as though they had gotten an electoral mandate, and they didn't. The US Senate is 50-50. That's what the American voters voted for. That would seem to set up the atmosphere for exactly what Sinema and Kelly said that they wanted, centrist bipartisan governance. But the progressives want to take the one vote with the vice president majority and cram all of this stuff through. I just think that at some point, I think if Kelly and Sinema are sincere about wanting centrist bipartisan governance, they've got to break the fever of this progressive movement and to say everything you want is not going to be jammed through on a partisan vote. And given how closely the Senate is divided, both of them have the power to break that fever. Until the fever is broken, I think on the left, the pressure on them is just going to intensify.
Yeah, and we will see. Kelly faces voters again next cycle. It will be interesting to see where they end up, and I know Bob will be watching.
We certainly will.